The ground shook before anyone saw them coming, not from an earthquake, not from a storm, from steel. Thousands of pounds of American armor, rolling, grinding, thundering toward a border that the entire world was watching. The M1 Abrams, 73 tons of the most lethal tank ever built, was moving. And it wasn't moving alone. This is not a drill. This is not a training exercise. What you are about to witness is the largest armored deployment the United States has launched toward the Middle East in over a decade. Thousands of Abrams tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles rushed to the border under emergency orders, under a sky that smelled like jet fuel and urgency. The question isn't whether something is coming. The question is, can anything stop it? Before the first tank ever reaches the battlefield, it has to travel thousands of miles. And that journey, the one nobody films, the one nobody talks about, is a military operation all by itself. It starts at rail yards on bases across the continental United States. Soldiers and transport crews work in shifts around the clock, with no margin for delay. The Abrams is driven up steel loading ramps onto flatbed rail cars, its tracks clanging against the metal surface with a sound like a slow drum. Chains are run beneath the hull. Turnbuckles are cranked tight. The tank is locked to the car, then the next one, then the next. A single rail convoy can stretch for over a mile. Nothing but armor, as far as the eye can see. At the same time, at airfields nearby, AH-64 Apache attack helicopters are being prepared for transit. Their rotor blades, folded flat for storage, are unfolded one by one, locked into position, and checked twice. The engines are started. The rotors begin to spin. One by one, the Apaches lift off and fly directly to the nearest military port, because these helicopters aren't going by ship in crates. They're flying to the dock under their own power, ready to be loaded aboard naval transport vessels and sent overseas alongside the armor that will fight beneath them. When the rail convoys arrive at the port, the scale of what is happening becomes impossible to ignore. The staging areas stretch in every direction, a city of military vehicles waiting to move. M1 Abrams tanks, M2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, M113 armored personnel carriers, HIMARS rocket launcher trucks, Humvees fitted with turret-mounted weapons, fuel tankers, recovery vehicles, mobile command posts, engineering equipment. Every machine the United States Army needs to fight and sustain a full-scale armored campaign, sitting in rows under floodlights, engines off, waiting for the order. The ships waiting at the pier are called roll-on, roll-off vessels, and their design is exactly what the name says. The stern ramp lowers. The vehicles drive aboard under their own power, guided by crew members using hand signals and radios in the tight, low-lit cargo decks below. The heaviest vehicles, the Abrams and the Bradleys, go to the lowest decks, where the ship's steel frame can absorb their weight across the ocean swells. Lighter vehicles go higher. Every single placement is mapped out on a load plan before a single wheel rolls up that ramp. Nothing is guesswork. Nothing is improvised. This is a machine, and it runs on precision. The loading takes 3 days. 3 days of continuous operation, day shift and night shift, no pause, no stoppage. During the day, sunlight filters through the open stern ramps. At night, industrial overhead lights and the headlights of incoming vehicles are the only things cutting through the dark inside those cargo holds. Forklifts run pallets of ammunition and spare parts into storage compartments between the vehicles. Toolkits, medical supplies, radios, and equipment containers are stacked wherever space allows. Every cubic foot of that ship is being used. Then the chains go on. This is the detail that most people never think about. Every single vehicle is chained to the deck. Heavy-gauge steel chains run from anchor points welded into the ship's floor to hard points on the vehicle's frame. Front chains, rear chains, port side, starboard side. Each one cranked tight with a turnbuckle. One vehicle can receive 6 or more chains, because when a ship is crossing the ocean in heavy weather, a 73-ton tank that breaks loose below deck isn't just cargo damage, it's a catastrophe. After 72 hours of continuous loading, the ships are full. The ramps rise, the mooring lines are cast off. Tugboats push the massive vessels back from the pier, out into the channel, and into open water. Escort ships take up positions around the convoy, and the armored fleet sets course for the Middle East, carrying enough firepower to fundamentally change what is possible on the ground. But here is what makes this deployment different from anything the world has seen in years. The troops are already there. 3,000 American soldiers are already positioned at the border with Iran, dug in, equipped with what they carried, waiting. They have been watching, they have been holding, and now the armor is coming to them. The Abrams tanks and Bradley vehicles rushing across the ocean right now are not going to a storage depot. They are going directly into the hands of soldiers who are already in position, already prepared, already facing whatever is on the other side of that border. That changes the calculation entirely. An army with soldiers, but no armor is limited. An army with armor already crewed, already zeroed, already loaded. That is a different conversation. That is a force that can move, strike, hold ground, and sustain an offensive campaign across terrain that would stop anything lighter than a main battle tank. The Abrams was built for exactly this. Chubam composite armor layered over a steel shell. A 120mm smoothbore cannon capable of destroying any armored vehicle on Earth at combat range. A turbine engine that can push 73 tons across broken ground at highway speeds. It is not the most subtle machine ever made. It was never meant to be. It was meant to be unstoppable. And right now, thousands of them are on the water, getting closer by the hour. And while the armor crosses the ocean, the soldiers already on the ground are not waiting. They are working. A HIMARS battery receives a fire mission. The M142 vehicle, a six-wheeled truck carrying a single rocket pod, is parked behind a low ridge in a concealed position, engine idling, crew ready. The coordinates come through. The calculations are confirmed. The order is given. The first rocket ignites. The truck rocks from the force of the launch. A white streak cuts across the sky, climbing fast, arcing toward a target dozens of kilometers away. An enemy vehicle staging area that will not look the same in 60 seconds. The second rocket fires, then the third, each one carrying a payload designed to destroy armor in the open, to scatter anything that was parked, positioned, or prepared. Before the last rocket has even reached its target, the crew is already moving. The launcher drops back to travel position. The driver throws it into gear. The HIMARS pulls off the firing point and disappears into the terrain. Because in modern warfare, the vehicle that stays still after firing is the vehicle that gets destroyed. Overhead, something smaller and quieter is already watching. A reconnaissance drone, assembled on the hood of a truck in less than 10 minutes, climbs away from the launch point and banks toward the surveillance sector. The operators watch the live feed on a portable ground station. The camera sweeps over ridgelines, dry riverbeds, and open desert roads. It is looking for movement, for heat, for the kind of pattern that means vehicles are massing, or supply lines are active, or something is being prepared that hasn't been reported yet. The drone doesn't carry weapons, it carries information. And in this kind of operation, information is what keeps soldiers alive. This is the picture that is forming right now. American troops are already on the border. HIMARS are already firing. Drones are already watching. And behind all of it, crossing the ocean at this very moment, is the heaviest armored force the United States has deployed to this region in years. Abrams tanks chained to the decks of transport ships. Bradley fighting vehicles are parked bumper to bumper in cargo holds. Apache helicopters waiting on the upper decks. Rotor blades folded, ready to unfold the moment the ramp drops at the destination port. When that ramp drops, and it will drop, the soldiers waiting at the border will finally have everything they need. The firepower, the protection, the mobility, the reach, and whatever is waiting on the other side of that border will have to make a very simple calculation. Whether the cost of what comes next is a price worth paying. History has seen this moment before. The build-up, the positioning, the quiet before the armor arrives. It rarely ends quietly. The Abrams is coming, the Bradleys are coming, and the Middle East will never look the same once they do.